Welcome to Maverick Veteran, and thanks for stopping by. If you're new to this channel, I'm a British Army veteran of 23 years, and you could describe me as a right-wing conservative. If you value free speech, no BS opinions and views on any current subject that arrives on the mainstream media, then you're in the right place. Free speech is here. Nobody will be cancelled. Feel free to comment. No comment will be deleted unless it's unnecessarily abusive. And that's just to look after the other viewers. Not me, because I'm really not that bothered. Too old, too long in the tooth. So you know what time it is. So let's go. Now you may have noticed that I'm a man, which for the hard of thinking is a adult human male. Now I can do a little bit of diversity as well if that's what you're into, and I will self-identify as a lesbian because I'm totally addicted to adult human females, which are women. Again, that's for the hard of thinking. Now, whilst we're talking about pussies, I'd just like to talk about this evening Larry the Downing Street cat. Larry was born in 2007 and has had to endure 5 British Prime Ministers. By the time Theresa May took office in 2011, Larry had a reputation for being violent, often seen fighting with Palmerston, the Foreign Office cat. So, the Cabinet Office Mouser has proved his allegiance by taking on enemies both foreign and domestic. That gets my vote. But in this case, it's domestic short hair. Today, poor Larry is awaiting a new master. Now, will it be Liz Truss or Rishi Sunak? Now, personally, I have no issues with Liz Truss. She's from a working class background. She doesn't put on any airs or graces. And she's got a full spectrum of the political arena, moving from the left through centre to right-wing politics. Sure, she's got some flaws, but then who hasn't? However, smug Rishi Sunak, who is first generation British, born to immigrant parents from India and Africa, and was born in my hometown of Southampton, is also a United States green card holder. So does he really have the interests of the United Kingdom at heart? He's a millionaire and his wife is a billionaire, and until recently had non-dom status here in the UK, which basically means that she wasn't liable for any tax in our country. They own several properties all around the world, including the United States. So if things don't work out for our Rishi, is he just going to up sticks and bugger off? Again, it comes down to, has he really got the interests of the UK at heart, or is he just thinking short term, thinking of himself perhaps because he comes from that immigrant background himself? What happened to the days when you had to have 3 generations before you could take up important positions within a country? Did that all just disappear and I never even saw it go? Now, despite all of his money, his trousers are too short. Just saying. And he could do with a good feed. He's virtually crashed the UK economy, whilst people indigenous to this land and other people who are new to this land but deserve to be looked after are on or below the breadline, with all prices increasing, from fuel in your car to powering and heating your house to food prices. The list goes on, and I don't need to preach to the already converted. But whilst he's doing that, what really crawls up my arse is that he's sending billions of pounds in money and equipment to other countries around the world. And he's paying no heed whatsoever, or at least appears to be paying no heed whatsoever, to our own issues. And surely charity begins at home. That's the way I was brought up. You look after your own first, then you worry about everybody else. Again, Rishi's values seem to be back to front. So again, has he really got the interests of the UK at heart? Now, he's clearly a globalist. And he's clearly friends with the World Economic Forum. He's also clearly a supporter of China. And we know that China is run by the Chinese Communist Party. So why is he even thinking about doing business with the Chinese? Maybe it's me, maybe I'm just suspicious. But I can remember when I grew up in the late 60s and through the 70s and to present date, people turning round to me, old school people, you know, those that served in the First and the Second World Wars, saying, be aware of what's going on, son, because there's a Chinaman in every high street. And there was, and there is, and there's even more of them. Just like there were Japanese living on the island of Hawaii prior to Pearl Harbor. So have we learned absolutely nothing through history? That the fifth column bides its time and sneaks in slow time? And then is perhaps aided and abetted by a new fifth column, an ally of some description? Now, Rishi, whilst you grew up in Southampton, I was basically leaving school at the same time that you were being born. I was leaving Redbridge Secondary School and you were entering into, later in life, into King Edward School, which was the best school, is what everybody said. That's where all the people with money sent their kids. Whereas the school I went to was, you know, you had the 4 R's. You know, reading, writing, arithmetic and reaction to enemy fire. Your parents obviously brought you up with an ethic, and that ethic was to make money. You didn't come from a poor background as much as you make out you did. When your mum's a pharmacist and your dad is a doctor, you are not on your chin straps, son. You are in good order. I don't think you've ever had a poor day in your life when it comes to financials. You've never gone out with a meal or gone without a meal. You've never had to run after the coal man as he drives off down the street so you can collect up on the coal that slips out of his coal sack. You've never had to go to the fizzy drinks factory and hand bottles over to try and get the deposit back, and then go and steal the bottles from the back of the cola factory, take them round the front and do it again until such times you were caught. That was living. You've never had to throw your sister's shoes on the fire to keep warm. Roll up newspaper sticks for kindling. Because you've had it easy. Your mum and dad might have had it difficult, which is probably their main driving force why they moved over to the UK. But they bent over backwards for you to have a decent education, decent upbringing and want for fuck all. It's a shame that you're not doing the same for the people of the UK, the people that took your parents in all those years ago and have supported you through thick and thin. Now, although your parents brought you up well, they didn't teach you any manners, did they? Because on a recent BBC conference, you interrupted Liz Truss no less than 14 times in that debate. And I think that's one of the things that's going to be your undoing, because the British, the English especially us older ones, we appreciate manners. We were brought up with manners and we extend those manners and we expect those manners in return. So you missed a bit of a trick there, son. If you want to go and play with your wealthy friends, then crack on. Go and play with them. But stop pretending to be the working man's best friend, because you're not. We've got nothing in common with you. Nothing. Give up with these hustings, because you're not going to win. Find a way out of this. Use your expertise, your financial expertise. In other words, do your fracking job. Remember this above all else, friends. Larry, the Downing Street cat, prefers real fish and not fishy rishy. Live long, live free. This call sign is out.